Welcome to the Private Practice Startup Podcast, where we help mental health professionals grow their dream practices and live a life they love. We chat with successful private practitioners, business coaches, and marketing experts, bringing you tons of practice building tips. We invite you to take advantage of our private practice paperwork and our signature marketing e-course. And we have a gift for you. This is the exact methodology we use to create our six-figure private pay practices and have helped many other therapists do the same. Go to privatepracticestartup.com and on the homepage, click the button to download a free copy of your dream private practice playbook. Now on to today's episode.
Welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. Today, our coach Susan Block and I, Kate Campbell, are co-hosting the show. Hi, Susan.
Hey, Kate. How are you?
I'm great. It's so fun to have you back, and I'm excited for today's episode. It's going to be a really fun and value-packed episode as we interview Nick Fuller on how to build a Squarespace website. So if you are in private practice and you have a website or you need a website, websites are absolutely essential, and we want to be able to offer some tips so that you can design your website and not lose your mind in the process, because it can be crazy making. Trust me, I've built several websites over the years, and every time I think I want to pull my hair out. So Nick's gonna give us a lot of tips today about how to simplify the process. So if you want to DIY or do it yourself with building your own website or have someone do it for you, Nick's going to be able to tell us all about that. But before we dive in, we really want to welcome you. And if you're a loyal listener, we want to say welcome back. If you're new to Startup Nation, we want to welcome you too. We're excited that you're here. So today we're going to talk about how to build your Squarespace website. But first, let's take a moment to hear from our sponsor, and then we'll come back and introduce you to Nick.
Is managing your practice stressing you out? Then try Therapy Notes. It makes notes, billing, scheduling, and telehealth a whole lot easier. Check it out and you will quickly see why Therapy Notes is the highest rated EHR on trustpilot.com. With over 1,200 verified customer reviews and an average customer rating of 4.9 out of 5 stars, you'll notice the difference from the first day you sign up for their free trial. They offer live phone support 7 days a week, so when you have questions, you can quickly reach someone who can help, and you're never wasting your time looking for answers. If you're coming from another EHR, they make that transition really easy. Therapy Notes will import your client's demographic data free of charge during your trial, so you can get going right away. Use the promo code PPS, as in Private Practice Startup, that's PPS, to get 2 free months to try out Therapy Notes for free with no strings attached. And remember, telehealth is included with every subscription, absolutely free. Make 2022 the best year yet with Therapy Notes.
All right. What's up, Nick?
Hi. Hey.
Hi.
Great to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk with Startup Nation.
Yes, we're excited to have you here. Nick and I connected many, many months ago and had such a fun time with our conversation. And then he had a baby, which was a very exciting time in his life. And we were busy and just life was happening. And all of a sudden we're going, oh my gosh, we've got to have Nick on the podcast. So here we are.
Yep. Yeah, right. Yeah, turns out having a baby takes a lot of time.
Who would have thought, right?
Yeah. No, but I'm super grateful to be here now and to be much more well rested than had we done this 7 months ago, So.
Yes, exactly. So it's all perfect timing in the end. Yeah. Well, let me take a moment just to introduce Nick. Nick has been building websites professionally for more than 10 years and has helped hundreds of therapists to start and grow their private practices. He makes websites and technology fun and easy by breaking it down into simple points and adding his silly sense of humor. So that sense of humor is always an essential aspect in the tech land, because it can be crazy making and very challenging. And Nick is a managing member at iTherapy. Nick, tell us a little bit about iTherapy.
Yeah, no problem. Always got to try to make it so that you don't want to pull your hair out, like you were talking about. But yeah, so iTherapy, we do a few different things. We really try to help make starting a private practice easy if someone's maybe wanting a little bit more help than just doing it all on their own, right? So a couple different things we do. We do websites, we can build them for you. We also have courses to kind of walk you through it a little bit. We'll have another course to teach you how to do search engine optimization for your website. And then we have what I call our suite of services, and that's kind of been historically the main product of iTherapy. So we bundle together different things that you need to bring your private practice online, the EHR, HIPAA compliant video, all those sorts of things. We give you one-on-one training with it so you feel comfortable and confident with all those tools before you really start seeing your clients. And we also offer a clinical consult peer group so you can go talk to, licensed professionals, and you have a little bit of that community rather than feeling isolated, which is one of the downsides of working online. So we kind of do a lot. But I think that sums it up pretty well. And of course, you can learn more at itherapy.com if you want to.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that with us. And sounds like you guys offer a lot of valuable resources to get people up and running and really thriving along the private practice journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's been the goal.
And let me say, when I was just starting out in private practice, having someone like you and your services, oh my gosh, what a lifesaver you can be for so many clinicians out there who have no idea what to do. So we're so grateful to have you on today and to learn more about what you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, we get like a lot of our customers are feeling like, so I don't know about tech, but I'm like, I promise we can walk through this. It'll be okay. So.
It's nice to have that feeling like, okay, he's got me. All right. I'm not in this by myself, because the tech world is definitely a very big world to wrap your head around. And we've had many guests on talking about different aspects of website building and search engine optimization and all of that. And I'm excited to have you talking about Squarespace today, because we have not talked about that platform. And I know that's one of the areas that you specialize in. So being able to offer that to Startup Nation, I think is going to be super, super helpful. And for everybody listening, having a website is one of the most important things that you can do for your private practice. Not just having a website, but having a website that's really well done, that speaks to your ideal clients, that really captivates them, inspires them to want to work with you, and has a beautiful design. It is a non-negotiable and something that we talk about often in our private practice marketing e-course. I know Susan talks about it all the time with the coaching that she does. And there are many different ways to go about building a website. So Nick, with this Squarespace topic, tell us where we should start.
Yeah, I totally agree. Squarespace, a website is non-negotiable, and Squarespace. What I like about Squarespace is it makes it really easy, right? Squarespace will take care of your maintenance, and it makes kind of the setting up really easy. And if you're gonna do it yourself, it's a great place to do that. Even if you're just kind of thinking about it, you can try this, and there's a trial, and you're not gonna there's no risk, no obligation, right? I feel like one of those salesmen, like a teller. But anyway,
nothing to lose,
right? Yeah, exactly. There's no downside to trying it. Now that said, you were saying you pull out your hair. I think this is not pull out your hair, but if you find in that regard, listen. Like, I pay someone to change my oil, even though I know how to change my own oil, right? Like, there's that happens, but that's what we're here for that too. But I really think that you ought to give this a shot yourself. Many of you are going to be like, wow, this is much easier than I thought. So should I talk about how to go ahead and do that on Squarespace, right?
I guess let's talk about, you talked a little bit about why Squarespace, and with, and obviously the website is non-negotiable. I know Susan and I have had a little bit of different experiences when it comes to websites. I'm crazy apparently, and decided to build all of my websites. I think I've built 8 at this point. And I think the first one was on Dreamweaver, like way back in the day, which was so complex, and it looked god awful. It obviously wasn't effective. This was back in like 2006. And then I transitioned over to WordPress, and WordPress is a beast of a website. And then I finally fell into Wix. And it's very similar to Squarespace for those of you that may be familiar with it or might not. Wix is, they have a lot of templates. It's drag and drop. It's very easy. And whether you're tech savvy or not, is something that is figure outable as long as you know what needs to be on the website. So Squarespace is something that's similar to that. Susan, what's been your experience with the whole website building? And I know you've outsourced a lot of that because you're so smart.
Well, I don't know if smart. I think it was just like I can barely handle a Word document, and editing a Word doc and email sometimes can be challenging. So definitely not wanting to bite off more than I can chew. So I just knew from the very beginning that I needed to outsource that. But for other clinicians, that might have extra time on their hands because maybe I see Nick is nodding his head and agreeing.
On the nose, right? Yeah.
It's maybe you don't have, a full client load yet, and maybe your marketing budget or your outsourcing budget is not there yet. And so this is an opportunity for you to take some time because you have it to start, working on your own website. And if you need the help, it sounds like they can get the support that they need while they're trying to do it, DIYing it. Mm-hmm. So I use the analogy of the maintenance of the car, doing the oil change all the time when I'm talking to clinicians. It's so funny you brought that up because I never want to know how to change my oil or to change my tire. I am going to have the car service company that's going to take care of that if I'm stuck on the road, and I'm going to bring my oil, my car in to get the oil changed. And I never care how it's done as long as it's running smoothly and I trust the mechanic who's doing it. And I think that's really key here. So that's been my experience, and I'm really excited, Nick, that you can share, really taking the guesswork out of the whole website. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, just very briefly, when you're starting, you probably have more time than money. So this is a good option there. But yeah, if so, getting started, you'll go to squarespace.com. You'll kind of see, their little ad, everything to sell on anything, et cetera. At the top right, there's a button for Get Started. We're literally going to start right there. You click that. It's going to ask you a series of questions. What's your site about? You might say something like consulting because there's not like a perfect fit for therapy, right? But then it's going to ask like top goals. There's kind of just different questions, and they're trying to help you narrow down your search for templates, right? Top goals might be sell services, offer a contact form, which I recommend. If you're not just exclusively online, then you have an office, so you're promoting a physical business, et cetera, et cetera. Those might be some of your things. And then where are you in your process? Many of you are probably growing an existing business or something like that, getting your business started, right? So then really it's going to get like all those were to get to this point where it shows you a bunch of different template options. Now, what is a template? The template it's just like it sounds, right? It's a website template. It kind of takes out a lot of the guesswork, and it has a bunch of kind of the little pieces of a website all together for you. It'll have your homepage. It'll probably have some kind of about page. It should have a contact page. I really recommend having a contact page. That's that you need to be driving people to some action. That's probably going to be a contact page where they talk to you to schedule an initial consult. So once you're here, once you're kind of picking a template, spend some time with this, right? There's an opportunity here to kind of preview these different templates and take a look at these. The closer your template is to what you have in mind as your final website, the less work you're going to have to do, right? So if you pick a template that you like and it's kind of got the pages at least something like the pages that you have in mind and that sort of thing, or even more because it's super easy to go delete pages, but it's a little bit more work to add pages, right? Then you're in a great position. Once you get that template, if you really want to go the super easy way, you can just kind of double click on all the text and write in your own text, click on the images and replace your images. And you could be done if that's all you want to do, right? If you want the simple website, you can pick a template and you add in your own content, and it could be that easy. So again, give this a shot because, it can be much easier than you think. Now, if you want to go a little bit more in depth and add some different blocks and stuff, we can talk a little bit about how to do that too. But I see you guys nodding. So
there's different. Yeah, they can't see us nodding, but we're nodding and listening to you. And there's a whole continuum, right, of how simple or how complex people want to get with their website. It's always good to keep things simple, to have a nice, clean design. So just like if you're having someone over to your house and you're inviting them in and they're experiencing what that looks like, people are coming to your website. You want to give them an experience and a taste of your brand and the colors that are going to be consistent. And you don't want to have clutter all over the place. You want to have a clean, clear message that speaks to your ideal clients, lets people know who you serve and how you help them. And your website is the vehicle to be able to do that, because when people are looking for a therapist, they're going to want to look at your reviews. They're going to want to look at your website. And so this is the best platform for that. So you talked about a simple way, a simple design. Mm-hmm. Now let's make it a little bit more sophisticated. What would you recommend for people who want to add a little bit more to their website? Maybe they have multiple specialties with the specialty pages that they're writing.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, if you have multiple specialties, then I really, really highly recommend making a page for each of those. That's each of those what can serve kind of later down the road. If you decide you want to do Google ads, then each of those pages would serve as a landing page for that. But also there's a big SEO benefit for making a page for each of those specialties. Right. Again, like, super important that you have a contact page. Every website should have a call to action. You need to be driving to that call to action. So drive everyone on each page. You should say, hey, contact me and schedule that initial consult. That should be on your homepage, your about page, your specialty pages. They should all say, like, contact me. Let's schedule that consult. So you want that contact page. The about page is, you can probably title it about your name so that if people are searching your name, it's more likely to show up. But that's an opportunity. Don't make it a resume. Make it about, talk a little bit about why, why you like doing this work, and build a little bit of a connection. If someone's on that about page, they want to know a little bit more of you as a person and not just your resume, right? Have that resume stuff down at the bottom. Some clients are going to find that nice, but what they're really looking for is a connection. And then the most important thing across the whole thing, is your text. You want to have text that's really connecting with an ideal client, right? If you can explain the ideal client's presenting issues better than your ideal client, instant credibility. And they're going to go, oh my gosh, I need to work with this person. They totally understand what I'm going through. So that's the secret weapon. I have sometimes I work with people and they think, well, text is not that important. Nobody reads these days anyway. And not true. If you're doing a good job of reaching out to your ideal client, they will stop and listen. But then also the search engines do really read the text, so it's important to have that text so that the search engines know what's actually on the page. If you're only going to have like a couple images and say, I do therapy, like the search engines aren't really going to have a full understanding of like who your ideal client is, who they should show this to. Whereas if you're having those service pages for each thing, much better that way.
And I think you bring up two really good points. It's not just about the design of the website, which is important, but it's also about the content and the text that you're creating. Mm-hmm. And, if you have a really dynamic looking website, but the content is kind of, bland or a little bit more like resume writing, it's really not an opportunity for your ideal client who might be up in the middle of the night. They can't sleep. They're really struggling with whatever the issues are, and they need to be able to connect. And through the text, the content that you create, those pain points, they're going to be able to find you. And once they find you, they're going to look at your website and think, wow, this is a place I want to hang out and read a little bit more about this therapist. So both are equally important, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, very well said. I like the way you're you're already doing the right work of painting the picture of like, they're up at night and, maybe you're a new parent and you're stressed out and your baby didn't sleep well last night. Like, I don't know anything about that, but, the more you can kind of paint the picture about what your ideal client is going through, the more they're going to connect with it and see themselves there and know that you understand them. And that's the first step. If you're doing a good job there, everything else is downhill. From there, you want to talk a little, go ahead. Sorry. I see. Oh
yeah, I was just going to say that. I mean, I'm so glad you're bringing that up, Susan, and it is so important to look at things from the multiple perspectives of speaking both to your ideal clients and then also speaking in a language that Google wants to hear. So we call it being Googleicious and making yourself so that you're ranking better with the search engine optimization and the keywords and all of that. So that's why it's so important to be able to work with someone like Nick or to have an e-course or a coach to be able to help guide you through the process of knowing what needs to be on your website, knowing how to lay things out. When you have a framework like that to help you and a template like Squarespace, it can make it really a seamless process and right. One that starts to work really quickly. Let's go ahead and take a break for our sponsor, and then we'll come back and dive in more.
Feeling anxious heading into tax season? You are not alone. That's why therapists turn to Herd. Built and designed specifically for clinicians in private practice, Herd offers affordable bookkeeping services, personalized financial reporting, and tax assistance to ensure you're making the most of your business and your time. Herd saves therapists on average $5,397 on bookkeeping and taxes each year. That's amazing. And when you join Herd, you'll work directly with financial specialists to track your income and expenses, file taxes online, and grow your private practice. Sign up now at joinherd.com. That's joinherd.com.
All right. So Nick, where do we go from here?
Well, so I think once you've got a template and you've kind of thought through some of your text, maybe you want to add some different blocks onto the website, add a little bit more. Because maybe the template, a particular page on the home, maybe the home page doesn't have everything that you like. Squarespace is structured to where it has these little blocks and they're horizontal segments on a given page. So you can imagine it just like a stack of these blocks, right? On the home page, you might have an image at the top and a little bit of a title. Let's say you want to add more text. You can literally just kind of click a plus button and say text area here and add that in just that way. I will say, like, Squarespace, if you are someone who's like super particular and you want something to look exactly this way, then honestly, in that case, if you're not super familiar with building a website, you might want to go work with someone that does it professionally. Squarespace is not going to be a good fit. Like, Squarespace will try to, like, Squarespace wants you to do it their way, right? Not necessarily your way. But with these blocks and kind of hitting this plus and adding things, it can be really, really easy. Yeah.
So although you might not have as many design elements that are changeable and you're able to kind of customize, it is easier in terms of not having to deal with a lot of the tech stuff. So there's pros and cons to being, whether you're working with a designer who's going to do the service for you, the DIY type website, or you're doing the DIY Squarespace or Wix template. There's pros and cons. So it's good to really think about what's going to be realistic and what your goals are and how long you want to take to really get this up and running and work on it, and whether it's going to be something that fits for you and your life and the time and energy that you have.
Well, and let me say this, if you're going to outsource it, a lot of times these private companies can be really costly, which, they're well worth it, of course. But if you don't have that budget and you are truly wanting to get your private practice up and running, it sounds like this is a really great opportunity to begin stepping into the scary, tech world, and that it does really take a lot of that guesswork out of the scaries in regards to this. So it's great to know that this is an option for clinicians out there who are just at the beginning or looking to. Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That's a really great point that you bring up about the budget, because that is something, an important factor to consider as well. What's your budget? What's your time and energy look like? And when you're looking at that full picture about, what's going to be the best selection for you. And this could be a stepping stone too, to get something up and running while you're getting started. And then maybe later on you want to do something that's more sophisticated and customizable. And so it's nice to be able to get the ball rolling and get the process started without having this really complex, complicated tech thing that you've got to work with. Nick, tell us a little bit about how Squarespace does with its SEO capability. That's the language of Google.
Yeah. Making it Googleicious. I love that. I'm stealing it. Squarespace is pretty good for SEO. I'd say Squarespace is absolutely adequate for someone that is going to do a private practice as a solo practice and wants to make SEO part of their strategy. Because if you're a solo private practice, like, you don't need 1,000 customers in a month. You could never possibly serve that, right? So your SEO is like, you don't need the world's greatest SEO, right? So, but Squarespace does a good job, and they do a lot of things for you. They make that easy too. They will handle what's kind of some of the metadata, which is like the page title. That's sort of handled in the background. You never had to worry about that, which is great. They also have like a nice checklist of different SEO things that you can do. So if you're making your own site and you're feeling comfortable, you feel good about this, and you're like, man, I can do a little more. I'm going to make this a little bit more technical. I'm going to make my SEO game real strong. You can go find that checklist and you can go work through it all and make it super Googleicious,
Nice.
Yeah. I think the bottom line here is that having a website, as we discussed, is a non-negotiable. Yeah. And what I really like about what we're talking about today is, so many clinicians I coach talk about the kind of ickiness around marketing and how difficult it is, especially very early on. And so, we know this is a non-negotiable. We know this is how people are searching for goods and services, is going online. Mm-hmm. And people are suffering out there, and they are really in a lot of pain, and they need to be able to find you. And so having, a company like Squarespace to be able to get your website up and running is a great way for people to be able to get the services that they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. I want to clarify the one point where I was talking about the blocks and like kind of maybe not having exactly what you were. If you're really particular, it may not be a good fit. What I mean is just if you want something in a really specific spot, sometimes Squarespace won't let you. If you were working with a real specific designer, you could get like kind of pixel perfect, design exactly where you want. Squarespace may not let you, but it will have kind of, all the different elements that you're going to want on a website. It's going to have something for you. But yeah, and to your point, it makes it easy. It's a great place if you're just starting. It can be a stepping stone if you want, but it's also incredibly economic. Like the cost for a Squarespace annually generally is going to be about $200 per year that you're paying them. And that includes your domain registration. That includes hosting. You don't have to worry about maintenance. I see both of you nodding. I know that both of you know,
it's a lot of money to have all of those. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're having a really robust WordPress site and you have a team that you could spend that much on just maintenance in a month, no problem, and certainly other some of the subscription website services, you might pay that over the course of 2-3 months easy too. So this is way cheaper than that. And if you're spending some time doing it yourself, all that extra money is going to be right in your pocket, right?
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Nick, and talking with us about Squarespace websites as a great option for therapists just starting out, or therapists who really are on that shoestring budget and want to be able to get started faster and build something that's going to be effective and that they can get running, relatively quickly. So what do you ultimately want our audience to take away from your message today?
I think I would say give it a shot. If you're thinking about it, if you're thinking, I wonder, give it a shot, because again, you have nothing to lose, and you don't have to make any payments up front. It makes it easier than I bet you think, and and you end up, you can save a lot of money by doing it yourself. And I've definitely worked with some people that they aren't pulling their hair out. They actually really enjoy the process, and plus, like you have that control too. If you ever want to go and make a change, you can do it yourself. You don't have to rely on anyone else. So give it a shot.
You might surprise yourself.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, Nick. Susan, anything else that you want to add before we start to bring things to a close?
No, I think this is such an informative topic today, Nick. It was so great meeting you finally, and thank you for sharing about Squarespace.
Absolutely. No, my pleasure. Nice to meet you. Wonderful to talk with you. Great to talk with the Startup Nation. Thanks for having me.
Nick, how can Startup Nation get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best place is just itherapy.com. You can reach out on our contact page. Got all the things about our suites of services, our have a website done for you, courses, all of that's accessible on itherapy.com.
Awesome. Great stuff. Well, Startup Nation, we hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as we did. And we want to encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review our show. You can do that directly on our show notes page on the website at privatepracticestartup.com. And of course, share with your fellow friends and colleagues. We love when we're able to help more therapists to reach more people. And we will look forward to seeing you on the next time. In the meantime, stay inspired. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.